Hello everyone, welcome to GB Bricks. In today's video, I'm going to be having a look at every set that's releasing in May of 2025. This is my most anticipated releases series that I've done for most months of this year so far. For this one, I'm going to have a look at all sets releasing, the most anticipated releases, as it is of course Star Wars month basically, where you have May the 4th and everything that entails when it comes to LEGO, plus a couple of other sets from other themes. So which are the most anticipated sets for May 2025? Well, let me tell you. Let's start then with 40796. This is Revenge of the Sith Heroes and Villains. This is a BrickHeadz set, a collection of characters from Revenge of the Sith, as the title implies. And in this you get Anakin Skywalker, Padme Amidala, General Grievous, Mace Windu and Emperor Palpatine. I'm not the biggest fan of BrickHeadz. I do like what they do, I do like the look of them, but they're not really for me. The only one I've ever bought actually was the Optimus Prime one that released recently. I did a review for that, I'll put a card to that in the top right hand corner. And these are okay. I like the kind of evil eyes that are used for the enemy characters. I like the general look of most of them. I think Anakin looks good. Palpatine looks good. Mace Windu I like with his purple lightsaber. Padme, I don't think that's coming across very well from the images I'm seeing. And General Grievous is definitely the star of the show. He looks great with his dual lightsabers. I think that's a very good BrickHead. £44.99 here in the UK. So what, just under £10 BrickHead if you look at it that way. And this joins a couple of other releases they've done like this. You had the Return of the Jedi BrickHead set. And you had one, I believe, for the Phantom Menace, so another of the prequel trilogy. That one had 6 figures in. But yeah, a decent enough set if you like your Star Wars and you like your BrickHeadz. Let's get the other BrickHead release out of the way then. That's 40795. This is the Luke Skywalker Rebel Pilot. I have to say, actually, this is probably one of my favourite of all the sets releasing for the 1st of May, leading into May the 4th, of course. Like I said, I'm not a big BrickHeadz fan, but I do like this one. I like the way they've done the visor with the transparent 1x2 orange pieces across his eyes. I do like that pilot uniform that obviously he wears in the original film, certainly. The whole Death Star trench run at the end in the X-Wing. Certainly a nice looking figure at the usual BrickHeadz price of £9.99 over here in the UK. But I'm sure there are others that people are looking forward to more as this month rolls round. So let's move on to those. We have 75407, which is the brick-built Star Wars logo. Now, I'm not enough of a Star Wars fan for this to appeal to me. I mean, you'd have to be, I would think, a big Star Wars fan to want something like this in your collection. Having said that, I do appreciate its form. I do think that the writing looks very good, the way that they've obviously captured the contours and the curves of each letter to look like the Star Wars logo. I think they've done a good job. And I actually like the size. I thought it was going to be a lot bigger than this. I thought it was going to be similar to the Marvel one that they've done recently, but it's not. I think it's about 30 centimeters long, which actually I think is quite ideal for something to place on a shelf where it's not taking up too much space, but it's big enough and bold enough that you can, of course, notice it when you walk into the room. There is a little Easter egg hidden inside one of the letters for fans of Star Wars to notice. No minifigures included in this one though, like there were in the Marvel set. I didn't like the Marvel set at all. Like, these are not my thing anyway, but even aside from that, just looking at it from an aesthetic point of view, I just didn't like the Marvel one. I think this one could have done with some minifigures, not in the way they were shown in that Marvel set, kind of bouncing about all over the place. I think here, maybe just a collection of them, perhaps in front of the logo, in some sort of scene with a little base included as well. Would have pushed the price up though. This is always the problem, isn't it? £59.99 is the other issue. I think that is quite expensive. But yeah, one you'd have to let me know your thoughts on this one. I'm not quite sure. I'm not a fan enough of the subject matter to have a real opinion. Is this a theme you'd like to see LEGO continue with, these logos? Let me know down below. Okay, we've got 75408, which is Jango Fett's helmet. This helmet range from LEGO has been a massive success for them. I'm not entirely surprised. I can definitely see the appeal, but I wonder if they ever thought it would be as successful as it has been and would continue on as long as it has done. So we've got Jango Fett's helmet this time round. We've had Boba Fett's helmet in the past, of course. This one's selling for £69.99 here in the UK, or your regional equivalent. And as far as I know, I think it does a good job of getting across who this is meant to be. I would know this is Jango Fett from my limited knowledge of the the series. I say that, I mean, I've seen all the films and I've seen a fair few of the spin-offs. I just don't remember all of it as much as a fan would, if that makes sense. But I do think it's quite iconic, and it certainly gets across the character of Jango Fett. I don't know how popular Jango Fett is as a character. I know Boba Fett has a bit of a following, and they're kind of those mysterious characters that perhaps enough wasn't made of them in the original films when they first appeared, so they've been kind of pushed into other episodes of certain things and what have you since. It's interesting that this one's more expensive than one we're going to look at the minute, and I'm not quite sure why that would be. I can't think of a reason other than perhaps popularity of character. But yep, this is the Jango Fett helmet if you are interested. And the other one I'm referring to is 75415, which is Kylo Ren's helmet. Kylo Ren is an interesting character for me. That sequel trilogy I wasn't overly enamoured with. I thought the first one was a bit too, or way too similar to the first Star Wars film for my liking. I didn't really understand why they didn't go and push away and tell new tales. But either way, I did like Kylo Ren. I thought he was quite a formidable figure in that first film. And I like his helmet. This one's selling for £59.99, which is £10 less than the Jango Fett one. This is what I was mentioning a moment ago. I honestly can't see a reason for it. It's got a slightly smaller piece count. This is 529 pieces. I believe that was just over 600. The other one about 616 approximately. Another interesting thing is this looks like it includes prints for the detailing on the front of the mask, the helmet, whereas as far as I could see, the Jango Fett one used stickers. So with that in mind, you'd expect the difference in price, the discrepancy, to be the other way round. I can only imagine it's down to popularity, but perhaps Kylo Ren isn't as popular, and obviously the sequel trilogy isn't as popular. I'm not sure. Again, if you have an idea as to why, let me know in the comment section below. Again, though, I do like this helmet. I do think it gets across what it's meant to. I would know that as Kylo Ren, even with my limited knowledge. Yeah, no, I think it looks decent, and if you're a collector of these helmets, then you're going to be happy to add another one to that collection, I'm sure. I would like to see, I don't think they'd ever do this, but I would like to see them create one of these helmets for Darth Vader. Now, obviously I know they've already done Darth Vader, but when you see his helmet in this particular film, the first of the sequel trilogy, and it's destroyed and Kylo Ren is keeping it, I would love to see that destroyed helmet as one of these. I wonder if they'll ever do that. I doubt it. But yeah, this is the other of the helmets releasing on the 1st of May. The next set releasing during May then is 75416, which is Chopper. That's C110P, the astromech droid. Not a character I know a huge amount about. I did look into it a moment ago, and I believe the character was first in Rogue One, if that's correct, and has since been in the Ahsoka show. Apologies if that's not correct. I was trying to discern. So, a bit more about some of these characters that I'm not overly familiar with. This one promises realistic movement, where you can move the lever to activate Chopper's iconic head movement. You can pose the arms, fold out a tool from his chest, and it does have that display plaque with a small Chopper minifigure. It looks as if the plaque is a print, which is nice. They've kind of chopped and changed when it comes to these plaques, Lego, over the years. You've had some be prints, some be stickers. I don't buy enough of the Star Wars ones to know what the general line has been with those, but I do know the 1960s Batmobile that I bought last year was a sticker, and it was very annoying that that was the case. It looks like it's going to scale with the most recent R2-D2 droid that they made. I think that was last year, was it, perhaps? In terms of size, of course, and I'm sure it will look good sitting next to that particular droid. It's £94.99. Again, if it's anything like that R2-D2 droid from last year, that one was available outside of Lego and did drop in price fairly quickly. I've seen it as cheap as about £65, so you're looking at £30 odd saving off RRP. If that's the case here, yeah, that won't be a bad price at all. Talking off price though, we've got 75406, which is Kylo Ren's command shuttle. This is the latest in the line of micro fighters, micro starships that Lego have done for Star Wars. And I will say I do like the idea behind these. I think they look great. I think they're very good representations of the ships on a scale that really appeals to me. Space is always an issue when it comes to Lego if you collect it, and these I think are a good compromise of getting some iconic ships but having enough space to display a few of them. But I just think this is very expensive for what it is basically. It's £59.99 over here, and of course your regional equivalent will apply. I can't see that price in this model. It's 386 pieces, which I've said before, I'm not really bothered about price per piece or whatever you call it, as long as once it's built it looks like it was worth the money. And I can't see £60 worth sitting here, but you know, if you're a fan of the series or of this particular ship, you may well find the value in just having it. I don't know. Again, you'll have to tell me, is that too expensive? Is that about standard for these micro ships? Let me know down below. What I will say though is I do think it's A, a very good representation of the ship itself, and B, just a ship that lends itself very well to Lego and to being displayed. I think it looks great. It's a ship that I would quite happily have in my collection, even as someone that's not a huge fan. There are certain ships that just appeal to me because of their design. Like a couple of years ago, not micro size, just a general playset, but I bought the Inquisitor scythe from the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. A very mediocre show. I watched it. It was fine at best, but I really loved that ship. But I couldn't do that for something that costs this much. Again, I will say that these do appear to be available outside of Lego and in most third-party retailers, so hopefully it's one that will drop down in price, and if it does, it may be the first of this micro fighter series that I pick up. The penultimate Star Wars set, not including GWPs, which we will have a quick look at as well. This is 75399, which is the Rebel U-Wing Starfighter. Anything outside of X-Wings and Y-Wings, I start to not quite know the difference between. So this was another one that I had to look up, and apparently this is from Rogue One, and obviously judging by the packing of this particular release, it's obviously going to be an Andor Series 2 also. I did buy the other Andor set that came out a couple of years ago, Ambush on Ferrix I think it was called, because I did like the Andor show. I actually thought it was one of the most refreshing pieces of Star Wars media for a long time. I really quite enjoyed that show. I'm looking forward to giving the next series a watch too at some point. And personally, I do like the look of this model. I like the look of the ship. It's not one I'm familiar with, but just looking at it as a starship and nothing else, I do like its design and the general aesthetic. And in terms of minifigures, you're getting Cassian Andor, you're getting, is it Deidre, Miro, and an ISB tactical agent, plus a K2SO droid figure. Apologies if pronunciation of names is not correct. Like I say, I watch this stuff, but I'm not a big enough fan for it to be retained in my memory as to exactly how you say some of this stuff or pronounce some of the names. But yeah, I do like the look of this ship. And I do like, so far, the Andor series, Series 1 of course, so I'll be keeping an eye on this one to see how it goes in terms of price over the next few months, and whether I like Series 2 of this show, maybe one I pick up. But yeah, no, not a bad looking ship. I quite like the look of this one. And the final release for May for Star Wars, we have 75409, which is Jango Fett's Firespray class starship. This is the Slave One, of course, not named as such by Lego anymore, but it is an iconic ship. I do love the Slave One. Again, I can't keep saying the same thing, but not the biggest fan of the subject matter, but there are just certain ships that stick out in my mind. You've got the obvious ones like the Millennium Falcon, but there are a few others that just something about them appeals to me. Now, this, of course, is an iconic one anyway, so it's not even about that. And I think they've done a great job here in upgrading it into UCS form. I think I'm right in saying they've done a UCS for the Slave One in the past, and this is obviously the next iteration of that. And at £259.99, of course, it is, again, very expensive. Adults welcome, as Lego call it. But I do think it looks very impressive. I only own one of the UCS Star Wars ships, and this is kind of what I'm referring to with my favourites in terms of the ships in Star Wars, because that's the Land Speeder, which I think a lot of people were quite disappointed by, or just perhaps felt it didn't look as interesting in a grander scale. I just love the Land Speeder. I think it's so interesting, such a great little ship. But yeah, that's my only UCS set. I do really like this one. I think it looks lovely. The iconic ship itself, the colours. You get two minifigures with this. You get Jango Fett, and you get a young Boba Fett with it as well. And again, I would like to think that plaque is a print, as I mentioned earlier, with the Chopper droid. Realistically, I can't see me getting this one. I just don't have the space to display something as big as this that I'm not as big a fan of. You know, if I'm going to buy something this big, it's going to be the 89 Batmobile that I bought, or the 66 Batmobile, or if it's going to be something that I have a passing interest in, it's going to be the ones that I really, really find interesting. And the Slave 1, as great and iconic as it is not that. But I do think it looks good, and I at least can say this time that it is, of course, very expensive, but there have been other releases at the same time that do cover a few other price points. So it's nice to see LEGO doing that. I think it's the way to go. I think it's the way they should do it. Very quickly, we'll look at the GWPs, because you've got, of course, May the 4th during this next month. And then we'll look at the other couple of sets that are releasing that are not Star Wars related. So you've got 40765, which is the Camino training facility. This is going to be one of the GWPs. In years previous, they've had a small price point to match a threshold, which is generally a polybag. You have the next one up has been some sort of collectible that's not exactly Lego. It's been like a key ring, for example, or a coin. The last couple have been coins, actually, I believe. And then the top one has been a Lego set, of course. So this, I'm assuming, will be that top threshold. It'll be interesting to see what the price points are, the thresholds for these GWPs. And the only other one I've seen anything about so far is one that's exclusive, I believe, to the UCS Slave 1. And that's a keyring, a Jango Fett keyring. So yeah, so far I don't see if there's anything else in terms of what's been the case in the last few years. Two more sets to go. We've got 76323, which is a Marvel set. This is Avengers Endgame Final Battle. This is 621 pieces and includes Captain America, Black Panther, Iron Man, the Scarlet Witch, Ant-Man, Iron Spider, Doctor Strange, Falcon and Chitauri minifigures, plus a Thanos Big Fig and an Ant-Man mech. I've stopped watching the Marvel films a long time ago. The only ones I've seen are the more recent Spider-Man ones with Tom Holland, because my daughter likes the Spider-Man films, so I watched them with her. But otherwise, I've lost interest in all these. This doesn't look appealing to me at all. I don't know, again, what the general consensus is for fans of Marvel, or this film particularly, but it just looks so uninspiring. I'm assuming the rings are portals by Doctor Strange, because I saw him do that in the Spider-Man film. It just looks like a mess of figures all standing about. It doesn't look like anything that I'd be paying £89.99 for, which is a crazy price. I can't see the appeal of this one at all. I'm sorry. Maybe for the figures, but I'd need a lot more than this to be picking this up, even if I were a fan of the subject material. But yeah, it's out on the 1st of May if it is one that interests you. And the last one then of the releases for May, we have 41049, which is the F1 collectible race cars. This is basically the next minifigure CMF series for the year. And I know there's been a lot of controversy about this because they're not technically minifigures. They are small F1 cars. I don't mind this at all. In fact, this is probably my most anticipated of the month. I just don't mind when LEGO mix things up. You know, there's rumoured to be a Spider-Man one coming later this year. And a non-Spider-Man fan like me could argue the same thing. Well, what's the point? I don't like Spider-Man. Why are you making a whole series about that? It's a waste. But it's not just me, is it? It's loads of people. And why not do something a bit different? I mean, I know my son would love these. He'd think they're the best thing since sliced bread, as good as sliced bread is. So I don't mind every so often them changing it up and doing something different with their CMF series. This is very different, to be fair. They could have perhaps done it as a separate release and not taken up one of the slots for the year, I suppose, to keep everyone happy. But you're never going to keep everyone happy. That's just the point, isn't it? So I think these look decent. I think they're quite fun. I like the fact, obviously, you have the different teams that compete in the F1. I think they're interesting. I think they're a little bit of fun for £3.49 a pop. And yeah, I'm quite looking forward to these. I think they're all right. So there you have it. That's another month of LEGO releases. Very heavy into Star Wars this time, of course. As I said, not being the biggest fan of Star Wars, it's not a month where I'm massively anticipating anything, but these are the most anticipated releases of that month. Let me know what you're planning on picking up down below. Are you going to go big with Star Wars and try and get the GWPs, or like me, you more of a casual fan of that particular series? What do you think of those CMFs? I'd love to know. Another point of view. Please do feel free to watch some of my other content. There's playlists and all sorts down there. And feel free to subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. Take care, and until next time, happy building.